in this singing. It doesn't.
Alright, whatever.
Good?
I'm on.
Are you in? Can you
I'm
see
in.
it?
Let's do it.
Okay.
What's wrong with us?
Ugh.
NBA Finals, I'm sorry.
Yay.
We're here.
Are we back?
We
I
figured
think-
everything out.
Did we lose everybody?
Nope.
Everybody's gone.
Oh.
Oh boy,
Well,
that was fun, guys.
Yeah. Fun guys.
For
Everyone else.
I'm a really fun guy.
okay, yeah, but it looks like we
So,
are back. Holy crap!
Susie.
Yeah, Susie, what did you think of Mad Monster?
Picking
Well, unfortunately, because of being an adult, I mean, I didn't choose to grow up, but shit happens. I wasn't. What is going on?
Doesn't matter. Answer the question.
You're good. You're good.
It's working.
Okay. So, I had to work. So on Friday night, I had to come. I came at with an hour left, maybe a half hour, and did some karaoke with my buddies.
Yeah, you did.
And then, went home and all that fun jazz. But then Sunday, I came all day, and it was like, wow, so much shit. I had no idea that we hadn't done it any interviews yet. So we were literally running around like crazy trying to get the most important interviews done. While in between that, Evan like, hey, can you do this? Can you do this? We're like, yes, super.
We're your
Yeah,
guys.
we can do it. Come on, guys. What the fuck are we gonna do? So we did the best that we could, getting the most, I would say important, not that everyone else there isn't important, but the big ones we tried to get done. It was such a blur. I only had one interview.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, two. I did the custom coffin guy, and then,
You did Madam Monster also.
oh yeah, Lauren Perry. So like I said, it was such a blur. We were doing everything running around so quick. And then I did, yes, Lauren Perry, beautiful, which she was so funny, which is like, is it okay, guys? Because she kind of fudged up at the end.
And she walked
But she
away.
walked away. She's like, I didn't know it was over. But yeah, you guys just watch it. It's hilarious. Anyway, and then also the lead singer guitarist of CKY, just kind of. He was there with his wife, who is
Alyssa Rose.
yes, and so they were sitting right next to each other. It was really cute. But yeah, so it got, like I said, it was just a lot of running around, and so I didn't get to do as many as I wanted, but it was really important to me for us to get shit done. So I was trying to coordinate times and make sure everybody was doing stuff in the time that I was there. And afterwards, which was, unfortunately I didn't get to do the Pinhead experience, but I had a friend who was working the Pinhead experience that actually let me go in and kind of do the experience, obviously without Doug Bradley. But, so I kind of got to do it, so I got to check that out. And then afterwards, when everybody was packing up to go, I saw Doug there, trying to put his stuff away. And I was like, did you need help? He's like, that would be lovely if you would help. And I was helping him put stuff
Girl
away.
from Kensington.
So I was helping him put his stuff away, and then his handler, I don't know her name. Steph. She's like, oh no, you forgot Cecil's, picture. And I was like, oh, I can give it to him. And so he made a picture out to Cecil, and then he's like, did you want one? And I said, well, can you actually make one out to my show? So he did. So it was cool. So even though I didn't get to do the experience, I still kind of got a one-on-one
That's cool.
with him. So yeah,
Nice.
it was crazy. It was, like I said, such a blur. I think that we will definitely be more prepared next year. But it definitely was really awesome kind of being officially, the people that, Evan went to. And I think it went really well for the time that I was there. And from the sounds of it, they seemed really happy with our work.
Mm-hmm.
And so up we go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they were very happy with our work. So shout out to Zeth, she's here. Miss Bond is here. Flesh of Frankenstein donated $5 to us. Thank you very much, Flesh of Frankenstein.
And
After
your glasses.
Bringing us
and
those
the glasses too,
cups.
and then him
Rock,
and
man.
Nerdful Things provided us with those.
What a name.
No, this
Nerdful
is
Things.
live, Will. We are here live. This is not an illusion.
Kind of.
This is real life.
We survived the project that you were mentioning.
Andrew taking a little bit of flack here.
Yeah.
Shannon's back. What's up? So, Andrew, you were you spent a little bit of time at Mad Monster one day, right?
Yeah, I was there. No, I was there two
You
days.
were too. Okay,
I was there
okay.
2 days. I got thrown into the fire on the first day. I showed up
Yeah.
real late and got to record and watch the Miss Mad Monster pageant.
Oh boy! Oh
Which
my
was-
God, that was throwing you into the fire.
Jeez.
And Edward D. It was lame about what happened with Ric Flair. I was going to possibly have the chance to interview him, and I guess something came up or prior talking about or bookings or whatever. It happens. So, but I did get to see this Miss Mad Monster pageant. It was
Train wreck all its own.
it was wild.
Oh no, the Miss Mad Monster pageant was good. You
Yeah.
you missed the costume
Well,
contest.
Yeah, the
I
costume-
didn't get to
Costume
see the
contest
costume
was the
contest.
train.
That was the train.
The
wreck.
Mad Monster pageant. How did that go?
It wasn't so bad. A few of the talent,
Glowing.
That's a good. Yeah, seriously.
a
It's
few of the
wild.
talent portions were really rough. Some of the singing was rough. I mean, I say rough generously.
Oh wow.
It was.
Well, we'll find out because we recorded it.
There was one that was clearly like you could have picked anything else except for singing. So, but there was I guess the previous winner sang and like she knew how to move the mic and stuff to counteract her voice being loud and all that stuff. So she sounded really good, but everyone else that sang had no idea what was going on. So.
And yeah, one of those girls won, right? She was the Jessica Rabbit.
The Jessica
looking
Rabbit
lady.
one.
Jessica Stabbit.
Jessica Stabbit.
What a name, yo.
She didn't sing. She just kind of danced and then had like a smooth jazz, kind of like if you have that tone of voice, all you really have to do is say the words, not necessarily sing the words.
Lounge singer.
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
Of thing. Yeah, she
So,
was in the VIP
and,
room
well,
that night, like with her stuff on.
What happened, what benefited her the most was there was an audio error. So she stood up there in her starting pose, which was just sticking her ass out for like 5.5 minutes. So landslide victory after that. Not coincidence? I don't know. But it was actually a lot of fun. There was a chick that was there for pit bull awareness or whatever, like raising them and bringing them out of like fighting things, or whatever. She like started tearing up, which I don't know, cheesy or not. She actually seemed like she cared. And then I saw her the next day at a booth talking about the exact same thing. So it's kind of cool to see them interacting outside of just being in the pageant, because the pageant was exactly what you think a Miss Mad Monster pageant would be. But like I said, it was an experience, and then I got to come back the next day and do like 4 panels in a row. They were fun. Recording them is different from watching them. You're kind of more worried about what's going on and where they're moving and panning the camera and stuff like that. So I didn't really catch exactly what was going on. The guy from Friday the 13th was talking, and I got to see some of the stuff he was talking about. A lot of stuntman work, a lot of like, yeah, if you're on fire, you just kind of have to know how to put yourself out. Like, kind of weird. hearing that
Fuego
from a
on
guy.
fire.
He was a cool guy to kind of listen to just in general. He seemed like a badass. So
Did you do the Greasy Strangler one?
I did not do the Greasy Strangler one, but I saw those guys all weekend. Like they
Great, man.
were around the fans. Like they interacted with people. They seemed like kind of the stars of the weekend in a way. Cause
I got
they
Michael's card, man.
They were super interactive with people. I saw them both days, which I saw a lot of the big name celebrities for like a couple minutes. Whereas I think I had 3 conversations with the guy and never formally introduced myself.
Mhm.
So, but from a production side of it, it was kind of just like another event. Whereas I didn't feel the same way with Comicon, which I was in just a production role, which is kind of weird. But Mad Monster was a lot of fun. I can say that much for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me, it was just, go. I honestly, every time I tried to go look at the floor, something would distract me, and I'd have to run back to the booth because some opportunity presented itself or something came up, some fire I had to sort of help put out, because there was a lot that we helped with that we weren't initially supposed to help with, i.e. filming the pageant and the costume contest and also the panels. We were not supposed to film the panels, but the crew that was supposed to come in from California ended up not making it. So luckily, we were prepared to do that and do the booth interviews, the 13 different celebrity
Oh
interviews.
yeah, and then finding the eye candy girls. I don't think they showed up.
Nope, not a single one did.
No.
Sweet! Thank
No.
you,
Yeah.
Phoenix. Fuck.
Yeah, and a few of them actually contacted me and said, okay, cool, sounds good, and then nothing. Yep, nothing. So I don't know.
Bimbos.
It happens, but you know, the event was still awesome nonetheless, and I got to do so many things that I had no idea I'd be able to do. I mean, not the least of which was being able to jump in and get an unexpected photo op with C.J. Graham, the Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th Part 6, which is a lot of people's favorite episode. It's my second favorite behind the final chapter, but I do love Part 6 for sure, so that was pretty cool. I got a photo op with him, which is on the Instagram as well. He actually grabbed my shirt and like held me, you know, real close with a knife, you know, and stuff, so it was really cool, and we got to do an interview with him later on as well, so that was amazing. But something that I got to do that I had no idea I'd be able to do was we went into the weekend thinking we'd be able to film Doug get into the Pinhead makeup one time, which didn't end up happening at all, unfortunately. But instead, I was able to help do the promo video, which you guys have seen because it's on the channel, for the Pinhead experience. But not only that, they asked if, because they were only getting still shots of people interacting with Pinhead, there was no video of it. So they asked me if I'd be willing to set up my camera as a lower second angle that's, you know, not noticeable by the people going through, but still gets an example of what the experience is. And so I did, and I was able to film probably an hour and a half's worth of the Pinhead experience for them. And luckily, we happened to take our turn while it was filming, so we got that footage, which is really cool. But you know, we won't be able to present it, unfortunately, because it was an exclusive thing. Everyone paid a good amount of money to have their you know, experience committed to memory and things like that. I think one person actually did sneak in a camera or their cell phone and filmed it and posted it, and was immediately asked to take it down and had to take it down and stuff. So yeah, it was no joke. But I mean, I was in there when I got to hear not only the Pinhead experience, but I got to hear the between takes. So when the person had left and they had to reset, if Doug had a little quip or something while still in the makeup, I got to hear it, and it was hilarious. And I won't share what it was because he was in character. He never did anything out of character, which is, you know, it was amazing to see an actor refuse to do certain things because he was in full makeup. He's like, I can't do that. Well, you know, you know, it's not something Pinhead would do, essentially, is what he was trying to get across. So it was an amazing experience and something I'll never forget. And the whole assisting Mad Monster experience is opening a bunch of doors. We're going to help them launch the YouTube channel in just about a month and a half, a little bit less actually at this point. And so we have a lot of editing to do. I have a lot of editing to do to prepare for that, but it was just an overall amazing experience, stepped up yet again. This was our 4th year at the convention, and we got to be more involved than we ever have, and I was super happy about that. Now,
well, I mean, there was all the awesome prep work that you did year after year with covering it initially, like, you know, when you had Susie doing it the first year, and then the team expanded in the years afterwards, and I don't think we would have really had an opportunity like this if not for those years of being diligent and just going with it, man, and continually paying admission. This was the first year they let us go for free as their official press, and that was because we paid and we're dedicated and, you know, showed how much we love the brand. Mad Monster is bitchin'. They're awesome. Yeah.
And the booths were fantastic this year too. I felt like everybody kind of stepped it up. Of course, like I went to it last year. It was the first year I went, and then this year I got to get the complete experience, and I was able to actually see a little bit of everything and partake in a little bit of everything. And it's just such a wonderful place. And I got to talk to a lot of the fans and people coming up to the tables and in between things. And people are just so excited to be able to just walk up to a table and talk to a celebrity freely and just feel like, I just talked to CJ Graham for like 10 minutes about fishing. You know, like it's just it brings so much to the fans, and I just hope all the celebrities realize what a great opportunity it is, and for the fans too to go to Mad Monster because you're not gonna get that same intimate level of experience that you would get like. Because if you go to Phoenix Comicon, which we're getting to now, I mean, it's just a completely different experience. These smaller cons are just so much worth it.
Now, before we even get into that, Marcia, since Fuego talked a little bit about his interviews and Susie hers as well, you got to talk to Mark Steger, right?
Oh my god!
And not only that, but you talked to him for like 15 minutes. Like,
Did I really?
It was a long interview.
I was
he did a lot
fangirling
of really
a little
cool
bit.
stuff. But
Yeah.
he seemed to enjoy it. And not only that, you also got to talk to the man from Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2.
Yeah.
And so you did a couple of interviews. So what did you think about that? Those were
Mark
your
Patton.
Mark Patton, right? That you had only done one interview up to that point, right?
Right.
With the gentleman from The Walking Dead, Lou, right?
Right. And I was a little nervous about talking to Mark because I just looking at his credits and looking at what he's done and accomplished, I was just like, oh man, he's so cool. He's been on Tool. He was the Demogorgon. He was on I Am Legend. He choreographed a lot of stuff for different shows.
Bunny Jesus and
Jesus and Holidays. Like,
So good.
he's so cool. And he's one of those contortionists. So he moves like a creature should move. Or you just like, people don't move that way. And he's just got so much experience and done so many cool things. I just like, I don't even know where to start. And he has so much coming for him because he's in animation. He did stop animation and does all these cool creature things. And he's like, oh, I'm coming out with an actual like film and series and comic books and all this stuff. And I'm like, yes. Like, I'm so interested about his work because it's just everything that came out of his mouth is super cool. And that's probably why I kept talking to him for so long. It's just because, keep telling me more. Like, your life is so fascinating. And then when I was talking to Mark Patton, it was really interesting because his career is it's so different than you would experience for most actors because he had a really huge start and then took a break and really found himself and was successful in other avenues and then came back really strong and raring to go. And he has touched so many people because of Friday the 13th part.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Freddy's.
Because of all the gay stuff that's in it, the homosexuality and everything, he was pretty much a leader, and I love how he owns it and he talks about it. And he's coming out with a documentary about all of that, and I think that's super strong for a lot of people out there. And plus the fact that he's able to like have that big break and still be able to continue to work, and like he's not over with his dreams, and it just kind of goes to show like it doesn't matter what life brings you can always follow your dream, and I think that's awesome to never give up and keep going.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, all in all, guys, Mad Monster was amazing. So real quick before,
No, I'm just posing.
Okay.
Posing.
I don't know why you do that, but anyway.
I do it all the time. I'm sorry.
I know, I don't understand it. But anyway, so let's talk real quick about Phoenix Comicon then, because I don't want this to go on too long. Already it's going to be a bitch to edit, but we did 8 panels. And we all had certain expectations, I guess. I was hoping the creature panel would do well, and although attendance-wise it might have been one of our lesser attended panels, I think the people that were there liked it a lot because they were hardcore creature fans. So I really dug that. I know you guys are going to want to talk about some of the others, but I was happy with how the creature panel came out. So Andrew was working the event, so he could not be a part of it.
I got to work for the production company that put on Phoenix Comicon, and it was interesting. The first day, I don't know if you guys saw the national news, but a dude showed up ready to do some harm to some people. So I showed up and was immediately on alert. But security came in. They beefed everything up to a point where they didn't allow stuff in the building, which made a lot of people mad. But
Safety first, y'all.
yeah,
angry cosplayers though.
from a
unfortunately.
production side of it, it was an absolute nightmare because just getting to work took me 45 minutes from the time I showed up at the event. So they had to check everything. I didn't have anything on me, but it was crazy. But they had to do what they had to do. I don't think it hurt the event whatsoever. I still saw hundreds and thousands of people, but yeah, that was from a production side of it. That was the biggest news I can say because the rest of it was sitting in the hallway waiting for rooms to change.
Yeah.
Well, and shout out to Miss Bond, who is watching right now, who was one of our fans that made it out for 7 of our 8 panels. The only reason she didn't stay for the last is because she had to leave, and we did a podcast with her, which went up last Sunday. But thank you very much for your loyalty and support, Ms. Bond. We appreciate it. Lou, well, I'll get to Lou's comment in a second. But yeah, okay. Oh man,
Who's
okay.
the passionate
We'll get to that. Yeah, we'll talk
need to
about that.
know
We'll
about
talk
that.
about that. So Susie, what did you think of Phoenix Comicon?
I wasn't there.
I know. So
I haven't
Wow.
She's got responsibility.
I know. But Fuego, no, it brings us to you because Lou Sitzma says, watch the Dark Tower panel, enjoyed it. And then Rubber Soul chimes in, says, Dark Tower panel was cool except for the passionate guy. So Fuego, what did you think of Phoenix Comic Con and what panel would you like to focus on?
Well, if I was gonna say the MVP panel or the MVM panel, the most valuable,
you know she's
Marsha,
gonna want to talk about that.
I'll leave that for her then. I was really happy to be part of the American Horror Story panel. That was awesome. But the one that I was putting the most preparation, I should say, into was the Dark Tower one, and I think unfortunately it was at the very end of the entire weekend. You know, so there was 8 panels that we did, and I mean attendance was good. But it was just
It was a full panel.
Yeah.
It was a full panel. The
To
tough
start.
thing to start, but you know what the tough thing is juggling, not spoiling. The trouble is trying to talk about just the movie versus books versus I actually spoke with a few people afterwards when you guys were breaking stuff down, and they're like, oh, I've only read a couple of the books and I wasn't sure how much I wanted to stick around for and things like that. I actually got lots of positive feedback. I mean, from Sarah's couple friends that showed up. So I had 2 first-time panelists on this, by the way, and I think if anything, one underdid it and one overdid it. If I was gonna really, give my 2 cents about it, and we had a couple production meetings, and it was tough because I was trying to juggle myself being the one who's read the comics and the novels with 2 other entrants who had read just the novels and none of the comic books, and then Cecil being someone who had just read the comics and none of the novels, and I thought it would balance, but being, a comic series with, a handful of entries versus we're talking thousands and thousands of pages of novel territory to cover, it ended up being slanted, and there was a lot more to talk about with the books, and if anything, I felt like Cecil was left out with when he could chime
I was
in.
fine with that though. Because it
and-
had been so long since I actually read this stuff, I almost felt out of place being on the panel at all a little bit. But,
But
I was there to
maybe
try
that
and
was-
give the layman's, like I was gonna try and react to some of the stuff you guys said, but I'll admit, I guess my professionalism left a little bit because I just was so put off that I just had nothing to contribute at some point.
Yeah, and that was maybe my bad for wanting to have you on it, at the end of the day. And so as the showrunner, I felt like he needed to be there. Would another expert have been better? I don't know. I can't really, talk about water under the bridge at this point, but I was still very happy with the quartet that we had together and with the crew. And just because one person was a little exuberant and nervous and stuff, I feel like it did throw us off course a little bit, but he loves the series with a vigilance and, reverence and stuff like that. And so I don't want to throw anybody under the bus because that's not necessary and it's not going to help anything, but I would like to do another panel at some point about the property. I would just maybe need to rethink approaching it. So
Well, you covered an awful lot. I mean, we might have to go right to the movie or
Yeah,
do like one book
I
at a
would-
time or something.
I would like
Yeah.
to change. I mean, I think Stephen King's growing so huge. I mean, next
Just do a
year.
new King.
Next year, it's going to be all about it.
Yeah,
for
why not
sure.
a Hail to Stephen King live panel?
Yeah, that
Or
would be
something
great.
like that, yeah.
Yeah, because it's a year of Stephen King, right, Marsha? I mean,
Yeah, it
damn,
really is.
with the Mr. Mercedes series, I know
Mhm.
you're pretty excited about. The Mist is coming back.
There's tons of coverage that's coming out that's more recent that we'd be able to cover that people would have been able to have time to experience in a faster format than I personally, as for somebody who read the 2.5 books, because it was so funny. I actually kind of giggled because I was like, when I got started reading the third book, I was like, I can't read this anymore. I don't like it. And everybody's favorite book was 3, which I thought was really funny. That I was like, eh. So it goes to say that wasn't my Stephen King series to follow. But that being said, watching the panel, I feel like there was somebody who was a little overbearing at times, but at the same time, I think you guys did a really good job because it was very informative. There was passion in there, and the people that did stay were legit fans that were really into what you guys were spinning, and
didn't want us to end it either. They were coming up and asking more questions,
Right.
and
And to me, that is success. When you have people, you had tons of people coming up after to talk to you guys, and yeah, it could have gone a different way, but you still grabbed an audience, which to me is successful. If you can get people to walk up to you afterwards, then you've done your job.
So, are we going to put that on the channel at some point in time, the actual panel?
We live streamed
It
it.
was live
Oh,
streamed.
you live streamed?
Yeah.
They can go and look at it right
Okay,
now.
So it was
you guys
there,
can
warts
go
and
see
all,
it right
bro.
now.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
if you
Some
want
people
to
have already watched
check
it. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
Shannon and Zeth said they watched it. Lou said, it was interesting. They didn't say it was bad. They're just it was interesting. I enjoyed his exuberance, he said. So, Rubber Soul says, I promise I'm not bashing him. He's just truly passionate about the property, but
anybody that has questions, they can go watch it.
yeah, I mean, you guys don't
Watch
feel
it.
bad. Look, everyone's got their opinion. At the time, I felt like it really made the panel less enjoyable, but maybe it's because I was right in the middle of it and I'm not the hugest fan of the property. So, everyone that is, it sounds like really dug it, which is all that really matters, quite frankly.
There's so much.
I wasn't the audience for
there
that
really
panel.
was.
I was on it.
There really
So
was
much to
a
go
time where my mouth dropped and I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Stop!
A little too much profanity,
But,
and as a guy who's known him since high
yeah.
school, it's he gets nervous and he's like, "What the fuck is the Dark Tower even about?" And I was like, "Okay, that's where you're overdoing
the
it."
Circle of Ka or whatever. I
Yeah.
don't
What
know.
does that even mean? I'm like, we've talked.
Do you
throughout the
guys
entire
even
panel.
know? I mean, does anyone even know?
Yeah.
Don't throw it to
Yes, I know. But I mean, as a whole, I think maybe since it's such a niche property as it is, as Marcia mentioned, a more broad Stephen King discussion. Because when I watched the one that Cecil and I did from FanFest in preparation, it's a really cool, informative panel. But the fact that there was no PowerPoint, no corresponding images, as we went through the world of Stephen King, I think that there's a lot more to explore, especially with the developments and new projects this year. So, but let's talk American Horror Story.
Yeah, Marsha, what was
Okay,
your favorite panel?
so when Cecil was like,
We had signed up for 7
yeah,
panels.
yeah, and Cecil was like, they just asked me, do we know somebody who could do American Horror Story? And I said, me, and I mean us, and and I was
Most
super,
valuable Marcia.
I was so stoked for it because American Horror Story, I've been a fan since day one. Even with its ups and downs, I've watched every single episode. I've rewatched some seasons or most of the seasons just so I can kind of see it in a different perspective. And so I was so excited about putting this panel together. I was a little bit, I don't want to say Bridezilla, but the kind of a little panzilla about it. I'm like, guys, you can't do the same things. You got to switch this up. And it was just because I wanted to be able, there's so much to talk about. Let's make it, let's diversify. And I was able to learn about some of the different panels we'd had put together previously on how to make it more successful. And one of my favorite parts, and I'm so glad I did this, I got someone had put together a compilation of all the different themes for all 6 of the American Horror Stories, and I was able to get that footage with the theme music put together, And that's how we started it. Before we even started it, I turned it on, I had the volume all the way up, and people were walking by the doors going, what is this? And they all came in, and then we had people standing everywhere trying, like, directing people where to sit, because I'm like, you're going to get kicked out if you don't sit down. And that place was packed, and I was so stoked. And everybody did such a great job. I felt like we all were in it. And we're in it to win. Everybody was very passionate about their selections, and there was a lot of talking going through, not cross-talking, but like ramping up and going through, and the audience was really, really stoked about almost all of, well, on everybody's selections. But I want to say one thing. I got the most cheers out of everybody, because I'm awesome. But
This is true. but
I
for
was
fan
really good
energy
because
though,
it was amazing. The fan energy was awesome.
it was the most like supernatural panel from last year for me, for as far as the interaction and how
Yeah.
excited people were.
You know what one I wanted to at least talk about briefly was one that sort of set the tone for the entire con for us, because our very first one was horror video games, and we had a packed room for horror video games, and they had to, that's when we found out they would kick people out, is because there were about 35, 40 people that had, they basically came in, and not only were all the seats full, but they lined the back wall and the side walls. So it was completely full, and the fire marshals had to come in and boot the people that were standing out because it was a fire hazard.
Miss Bond said it was her favorite panel.
Yeah, it was, people just really loved it. I'm really glad we did that one, because it again, it set the tone, and both of our panels on the first day were full. And if all of our panels had been the small rooms, all of them would have been full, except maybe the creature panel.
I think that would have. Oh, I think it would have
It
been
might have
close.
pushed. It would have been close. Yeah.
It would have been
So that's encouraging though, that we either picked that many
Yeah.
good topics, or that people, are starting to follow us and come and show up. So.
And I do want to shout out also on that panel, Dirk and his brother Nick did an amazing job on that panel. And Dirk I was moderating everything, but he put the panel thing together, the PowerPoint together, and he did a really good job. And I loved how Nick, even though he was his first time panel, but
last
he
minute
did.
addition too.
And the last minute addition, but he ran with it, and he did an excellent job. He had people laughing, and people were digging it, and on that panel, people came up to us there too, going, "Oh man, like, I'm glad you said this, and oh, what about this game? Try this, and if you like this, then do this." So I thought that was really cool. So
it really was.
I think it was a great mashup in that panel.
Absolutely. So
The only one thing I wanted to mention is that somebody from last year was like, why didn't you do another Great Horror Debates? I was on it last year, and it was so fun.
yeah.
So maybe to keep in mind for next year.
I was
do a
bummed.
return.
After we had planned everything, I was like, oh, I forgot about that. Otherwise it would have been 9.
Yeah, I think someone mentioned to me about that too, about the Great Horror Debate, which was a lot of fun.
It was.
And I had
We
to
got to
eat
involve a lot
my
of audience
shirt
members.
on that one because I was a skeptic. I was like, oh man, we really want to make the audience do most of the stuff on this panel. Like, oh, I don't know. Like, and people participated. Like, no joke, they showed up. And
Yeah, it was crazy.
It
Even
was
after
great.
like we had given everyone away, like the prizes, they still wanted to keep going.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, I mean, all in all, you guys, just getting to the wrap up here. It was a really busy, really tiring, but really successful 2 weekends for our channel.
Yeah.
We made a lot of good connections, and we earned a lot of new fans, and we proved to a lot of people that the panels we did last year were not a fluke, and people showed up for these, and it was awesome. So I'm starting to run out of energy, so I think it's time to call this, you guys.
That's the way we all felt
thank
at the
you-
end of 2 straight weeks of
Yeah.
craziness. We're
Yeah.
just like, oh
Well,
man.
thank you guys for who stuck around through our shenanigans.
Yeah,
I
that was
mean,
fun.
what
That was so much fun.
Yeah, sorry about all the technical
can go
difficulties.
wrong goes wrong sometimes.
Yep.
If it was
Murphy's
easy,
Law.
it wouldn't be the horror show.
This is a Murphy's Law kind of house right here. So, thanks again for watching, you guys. Shout out to everyone that signed on, and I love that you guys continue to have conversations with each other while we prattle on here. It's fun. It's a community we've built, so or we've helped to build with your guys' assistance. So, thank you guys very much. Until next time, I've been Cecil Laird.
I am Andrew Mercer.
Susie Von Slaughter.
I mean, Fuego here.
Marsha Parker.
And remember,
Stay
scared.
Now the fun part. Somebody's got to hit the button. Hit the button.
Hit the button, Gwendy's button box.
Oh no! Oh no!
Can't find it.
It's on
don't
the
drop
thing.
it again. Don't drop